recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
Started seeing gold in them Thar hills, you know, and started trying to figure out how to cookie cutter a new metal movement. Hair metal was defined and born.
God, we hated those bands. We hated Quiet Riot and Poison and Warrant and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. I mean, hated those bands.
Well, why? Aren't we all one happy big metal family? No.
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts some music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, it's Glam Metal versus Thrash Metal. It's an all-out war. Good afternoon, everybody. Glam Metal versus Thrash Metal, that's what we're doing here today. It's an all-out war. Although more what I want to do here, I'm not trying to say like one genre is better than the other, like both, like, well, this, you know, like that glam metal's all for posers and that thrash metal is for real metal fans. I mean, even though at the time they're kind of like, you know, we're not all one big heavy metal family. It was very divisive. I mean, over time, I mean, there's lots to like about both styles of heavy metal. It's heavy metal. It's heavy music. It gets your head banging. It gets you going. So, I mean, I love thrash metal. I love glam metal. So, I just love heavy metal. And so, we're just gonna talk about some albums here, not pitting against each other. That's just buzzwords, phony baloney show business buzzwords. But yeah, that's what we're doing here. So I'm gonna start. Let's talk about some thrash metal. All right, you got to start at the beginning. I mean, this was the first real thrash metal album, Metallica, Kill 'Em All. I mean, this was just, I mean, when this came out, I mean, nobody heard anything like this. I mean, is it everybody's favorite Metallica album? Probably not. I mean, Ride the Lightning was always my favorite, and I'll talk about another one in a second. But I mean, this one, I mean, this just blew everybody away. I mean, Hit the Lights. I mean, that nobody heard it. I mean, that hits you. You're like, whoa, what is this? Four Horsemen is cool. Motor Breath, I think, is probably my favorite song on the album. I dig that one. Really heavy. Anastasia, Pulling Teeth, the Cliff Burton bass solo. Man, Cliff Burton was something special. I liked Jason Newsted. It seemed the band wasn't like him too much. They were just hazing the guy the whole time he was in the band. Poor Jason Newsted. And I like Robert Trujillo, who's been playing with them now. I like his work with Ozzy. But man, Cliff Burton was just like, there was nobody like that guy. Truly just, man, so cool. And apparently a really, really cool dude, too. Also, you got Dave Mustaine still writing the songs on this. Did he get shafted? That's up for debate. But everybody, you know, you don't want to take side and say, it's just like, but so many of these bands, I mean, everybody's like, oh, this guy screwed me, you know, whatever. But yeah, this has got some great tunes on it. Seek and Destroy, oh, so good. Actually, that's my favorite song on the album. Dig that. Whiplash, I mean, nothing sounded like this. Then, of course, Master of Puppets. I mean, this was like the peak of this. This is thrash metal. This is what thrash metal could be. 1986, Metallica had just like mastered it with Master of Puppets. Battery, I mean, that's one of the greatest album openers in the history of heavy metal. So amazing. I love that tune. That's probably my favorite Metallica song. I just love that intro. It's just so good. The acoustic guitar is so nice, and then it just gets really heavy. So awesome. Of course, the title track is fantastic. The Thing That Should Not Be, dig that. Welcome Home Sanitarium. Disposable Heroes, dig that tune. Leper Messiah, taking a line from Ziggy Stardust. David Bowie. See, the influence is all over. Even David Bowie was an influence on thrash metal. And then we have Orion, coolest instrumental, dig that. And of course, Damage Inc. closing it out. I mean, this was just a big deal. Got to mention Slayer. Couldn't find my copy of Rain and Blood. There's a hair sticking on that. Don't mind me. But yeah, I couldn't find my copy of Rain and Blood. Blew my stack looking for it, but this is my favorite Slayer album. I always know where this is. Seasons in the Abyss. So cool. Dig it. Also, gotta mention these guys. Anthrax spreading the disease. Big deal. Probably the best Anthrax. I mean, I like Among the Living as well. It's probably my 2 favorite Anthrax records, but this one is just great. I dig this. Aftershock is my favorite Anthrax tune. They had a sense of humor. That was the fun about Anthrax. They had more of a sense of humor. And it had like, but you could still take them seriously. They weren't like a total joke band, but they were fun. Gotta mention this. This is kind of the Megadeth thrash classic. I mean, this is their thrash masterpiece. Rust in Peace. I mean, this is just like, wow. This is Dave Mustaine, classic lineup of the band. There they all are there. Nick Menza, Dave Ellefson, and Marty Friedman. I mean, this was just, this is Megadeth, just firing on all cylinders. Holy War's Punishment Due, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners, dig that tune, yeah. Rust in Peace. A band that doesn't get talked about a lot, Testament, Practice What You Preach. I found my cassette of this. Never huge into Testament. They have a few other good albums, but I was never huge into Testament, but I do really like this album. Some good tunes on here. And Pantera, which some people would say is post-thrash. That was a big spit I just did right there. Or groove metal. I just say they're a thrash metal band. I mean, they're slower, not as the speed metal thing, but I mean, they're pretty thrashy. And they got some other great albums. Vulgar Display of Power, Far Beyond Driven, so good. I mean, there's really so many great Pantera records. But this one is a big statement. This is my favorite. All right, now we're heading into glam metal. And I thought I'd start with this album. I mean, this pretty started glam metal. This could arguably be the first glam metal album, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. Van Halen, the first Van Halen record. I mean, this was like California sound. Singing about girls, singing about cars, singing about all this stuff. Kind of like Beach Boys kind of lyrics, but it's heavy. And that's what this pretty well started, Living on the Sunset Strip. This really started it all. And then, of course, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love, my favorite Motley Crue album, just did the Motley Crue album ranking. Go back and watch that. I mean, this was the first, real, okay, this is something different. Motley Crue really kicked it off with Too Fast for Love, Sticky Fingers, Rolling Stones, tribute there in the cover. And then they went full glam, of course, on this one, Theater of Pain. This is their most glam metal album. I mean, they're fully glam here. And look at them. Look at those outfits. A lot of people jumped off the Motley Crue train on this. But, I mean, this was them at their peak. Some would say this is the last truly great Crue record. Can't deny that. At least of this this era. It's like as big as they were going to get. Dig it. Here we go with the first heavy metal album, not just of any particular form of heavy metal, the first heavy metal album to reach #1 in the Billboard charts. Quiet Riot, Metal Health. Very important album. I mean, it's best known for their cover of the Slade song, Come On, Feel the Noise. Great tune. They didn't even want to do it originally, but they did it. Became a huge hit. Now everybody knows who Quiet Riot is. And they did a cover of Mama, We're All Crazy Now, which is also a Slade song. The band is known for doing cover tunes of this one band, a British band that would never took off. Most people don't know who Slade is. They took off, never took off in America, and other than through Quiet Riot. But this is a great album. This has got some good stuff on it. I mean, Run for Cover is my favorite Quiet Riot tune, my favorite song off this album. Dig that song. Let's Go Crazy's fun. Don't Want to Let You Go is cool. They got different, kind of a slower tempo on that one. Dig that. Of course, the title track. Yeah. Good album. Probably the best Quiet Riot. Although I do like Condition Critical. A lot of people will dump on that album. I actually really like that one too. How about the band that went fully glam with this album cover? Poison. Look What the Cat Dragged In. Yeah, Look What the Cat Dragged In. A lot of people kind of got turned off by this. I think a lot of people thought it was the band Vixen. Remember Vixen? They were great. Edge of a Broken Heart. But I mean, this is people could look at this. Oh, who is this? Who are these bunch of chicks? And it's like, wow, it's a bunch of dudes. But yeah, this. I mean, I'm not a huge Poison fan. I really dig this album. I think there's hit and miss with Poison. I think this is kind of their best. Got some of their best tunes. I mean, Want Some, Need Some. Love that tune. Play Dirty, I dig. The title track is really cool. Blame It On You is good. Yeah. Cry Tough is not a good opening. They should have put a different... The title track should have been the opening on this. Cry Tough, it's just like... Poison had a lot of those kind of like it sounds like a ballad, but it's not too heavy. And the thing, it's like, kind of frustrating, Poison. CeCe DeVille, underrated guitar player, too. How about Bon Jovi? Got to have a Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. Big Bon Jovi fan. And, I mean, this is sometimes... I mean... This kind of flip-flops. I mean, I've said this is my favorite Bon Jovi album. There's some other ones I may like a little bit more. New Jersey, Keep the Faith. Even some of the later records are really good. But this is pretty well when they were like really doing the heavy metal thing. Glam metal. Although some people debate boo Bon Jovi. They are not heavy metal. They shouldn't even be in the conversation. Well, they kind of were for a while. Yeah. Dig it. How about Night Song, Cinderella, another of my favorite bands. This is probably their most glam. I mean, mostly just the album cover. This turned off a lot of people. Like, what the hell is this? But then you listen to the music, it's actually really good. Tom Kiefer sounds like Brian Johnson. Sounds like AC/DC, a lot of this. But it's pretty big, pretty heavy. It's just the album cover is not really representative of what this band is. And even calling them glam metal, calling them hair metal, I mean, they were more just a blues band. Just a bluesy rock band. Very much like Aerosmith. And they did have a bit of an AC/DC kind of vibe to them as well. But, I mean, this was the debut. This is one where everybody kind of took notice of Cinderella. Do they have better albums? Yeah, probably. But this one is really good. Dig it. Def Leppard, Pyromania. I mean, Def Leppard started a new wave of British heavy metal band. They were a pretty heavy band. And then here they go kind of in the glam metal thing, the hair metal thing. I mean, Rock Till You Drop. I mean, that's a hair metal anthem right there. Rock of Ages, of course, that's another big hair metal kind of anthem. Stage Fright, which is my favorite Def Leppard tune. I dig that album. Probably my favorite song. Probably the heaviest song on this album, really. But yeah. This is a good album. I always really liked Pyromania. I mean, the first 3 Def Leppard records I think are like the best Def Leppard. Can't really go wrong with them. I mean, there's some good ones. I mean, like the other ones. But really, the first 3, right up to Pyromania, I think that's Def Leppard for me. And I think for a lot of people. I want to mention this band. Stryper. I have this one on vinyl. Yeah, Stryper were a Christian heavy metal band. Came out during the glam metal era. And they were singing about Jesus. What's funny about them is I wrote a story about Jimmy Swaggart was like their mentor. The disgraced Jimmy Swaggart. Ozzy Osbourne wrote a song about him. What a hypocrite that guy turned out to be.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
But he was like, these were like his students, the boys in Stryper. Robert and Michael Sweet, Oz Fox, Tim Gaines. And when he found that they did heavy metal, turned to heavy metal music, just owned them, put them down, like, oh, it's like, yeah. But they were singing about Jesus. You know, like, shows that people don't even listen to the lyrics, don't even care. Yeah. But I mean, Striper's okay. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, it's a little extreme. I mean, not that there's anything wrong about singing about Jesus, but it's just like it's a little much. It's like too much the other way, where like the band's like just singing about like satanic and the devil, and just like it's a bit extreme. And I think that gets a little tiresome for me with Striper. But I mean, I dig it. It's a cool sounding album. It's pretty heavy. And talk about glam. Robert Sweet there. I always looked like Heather Locklear. That's like Dynasty era Heather Locklear right there. Yeah. This is 1985. That's when she was on Dynasty. That's probably where he got his look. Holding katana blades too. I'd like to see Heather Locklear holding katana blades. All right, I'm going to close out Glam Metal by talking about this band, White Lion, Pride, first big White Lion album. This was their big commercial breakthrough. Nobody really talks about White Lion anymore. They're kind of forgotten, but they were a big band for a while. And Mike Tramp was like a supermodel, really good-looking guy. Vito Bratta, I mean, he was like another Eddie Van Halen. Really cool guitar player, but like totally underrated. Nobody talks about him. But this is a great album. Wait was the big hit off of here, and of course, When the Children Cry was their big ballad. But I mean, there's some other great tunes. I mean, really kind of forgotten about. Hungry, awesome, one of the best openers. And actually, if you want to hear really good White Lion, try and find the anthology, which has like this, the songs from this album, and their later albums, and also their debut. But it's just all these like really raw early demos. It's so heavy, much heavier band than you would think just listening to it. But I mean, especially in that raw form, like what could have been. Yeah. But this is a great album. I always like White Lion. They're really underrated. So there you go. That's just a little bit the history. Kind of just talking about some albums. Thrash metal versus glam metal. Glam metal versus thrash metal. Hair metal, if you want to call it that or whatever. But yeah, it's heavy metal. It's still rock and roll to me. I'm quoting Billy Joel. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's whatever moves you, whatever hits you, whatever just makes you just wanna rock out. I put on some thrash metal, sometimes put on some glam metal. I dig them both. I love both styles of music. I just like heavy music sometimes, you know? So, if you're a fan of thrash, glam, like them both, whatever, you're a metalhead, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.